All right, here we are again with episode 9 of the Port Haven
Hello.
StreamCast. That's almost 10, almost double digits.
I appreciate the irony that we're talking about episode 8 on episode 9.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. If only the DVD release had been a week sooner, then
Right? It
then
would have
maybe
been
we could have done
perfect.
something different. But we are here again with the Port Haven StreamCast. Professor Django here with my pal Yoda Bauer. And what we want to do today, so we're coming to you early this week. So usually we stream on Thursdays, but we're doing it today because today is the day, if you're unaware, that the episode 8 Blu-ray has released. So if you
Yes.
don't care about physical media anymore, then you might have had your digital code for a couple of weeks now.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
which we can talk about that too, because that kind of pisses me off, honestly. But
I was upset about that too.
we wanted to come and talk about different features that are on there, talk about the versions that we were buying, because we're getting different ones, and why we're buying those and things like that. And so maybe this is a marketing ploy to get you to buy it as well. But that's what we're here for today. So Jess, why don't you tell me a little bit about what? Because I know you have a particular collection of sequel trilogy era films. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about why you like what you like.
So I bought the Kool-Aid for the Best Buy Steelbooks, which is a little harsh to say because um, that makes it sound like they're bad. They're actually quite good. So I got the Steelbook edition of The Last Jedi because I have the Steelbook edition of The Force Awakens and Rogue One. Um, and I just like that it's a harder case. It's like not these really junky, like I'll just arbitrarily pull X-Men Apocalypse off of my shelf. Like these cases are so flexible, and if you step on it, you'll break it. So
Right.
I like it because they're stronger cases and they look cool. And I'm gonna be completely honest. When The Force Awakens came out, I bought it because it had Kylo Ren on it. And then from that point, I just kept getting them because they were all steel case. And I really like this because it has the Last Jedi one has the 2 IMAX posters.
All right.
At first, I was a little bit let down because I really liked the look of the Rogue One, that just had like the Dark Troopers, Death Troopers, whichever one. I'm so confused by them. But it has those guys on it. But then I found out these are actually the IMAX posters, which were really good. So I really liked those. So that's why, and you know, they don't come with anything extra. There's no special bonus features. There's no special whatever. It's just it's a collectible case. It's a really nice looking case.
And I've not had a chance to go get it yet, but I'm getting the Target special version.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it comes with a booklet. I'll switch to that so you can see it just really quickly. I haven't done my unboxing video, which, by the way, if you want to see more details of the steelbook that Yoda Bauer bought, she got a chance to go ahead and record an unboxing video for that that's up on our channel that you can check out. You might have already checked out. It's kind of skyrocketed right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So, but I like the targeted version of this again because of that kind of book with some artwork in it. That's kind of got me
Mm-hmm.
excited. And I bought the Target edition of Rogue One also because it had. I guess I could have pulled it off the shelf if I had done any preparation for this, but it had these interchangeable covers that I thought were cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually did come with an extra bonus scene or
Okay.
bonus featurette than the other ones did. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool. But
Yeah, I think in general the Target, if you want exclusive stuff, I think Target's the way to go.
yeah, I mean, but these, like you mentioned, the steelbooks though are really pretty. It's hard
Yes.
to deny that they're aesthetically pleasing, especially if you have a set of them like you do.
Right.
Um, you know, I might have gone that route had I already purchased the other ones, but now I
Right.
feel weird going back and trying to get into that after the fact. Which one of the things again I didn't like about the Rogue One um, Target edition is that it was like 3 times the width of a normal movie case, and so it fits very awkwardly on my shelf, much in the same way that Rogue One fits very awkwardly into canon in some ways.
I know. I have my shelf here, which I don't know if you can see behind me, but it's a problem because I have like the Blu-ray complete saga,
Yeah.
and I can't put Rogue One in the middle of this box. So it's already screwed up because I have the Clone Wars too. So it's just there's no good like chronological way to put your stuff anymore.
Right. Well, I'm sure one day they will all sell us, a grand saga wide. Here's all 50 movies that we're making all in one box set type deal, and you can get the steelbook version of that.
Exactly. Well, that's part of why I went for the collectible cases over any other version is, at some point I'm going to get a box set that's going to just be like a single box, and then I'll have multiple copies, and then I can just put my pretty steelbooks up somewhere. That is assuming, of course, that by the time the super fancy set comes out, it's not all digital and we've not completely forgone discs entirely.
So let me talk about that for a minute, just because I already told you I wanted to vent about this. But so what do you think about this? Because all of these movies that you buy these days, if you get any decent Blu-ray, it comes with a digital code. I don't always use mine, just because if I'm at home, I don't watch a lot of stuff if I'm not at home. So if I am at home, it's not like it's trouble to just pop in a disc as compared to flip through a menu on my smart TV. But the thing that bugs me about the difference is not so much that the difference exists, because I know people who don't want the physical media, but I honestly can't see any sort of logical marketing business reason to release the digital version earlier than the physical version, unless it's just logistically we can't get the physical version ready early enough, and it's taking 2 weeks later to print, the actual copies or whatever it is. But do you have thoughts about that? I got pretty worked up about it when I realized that half my friends were getting to watch The Last Jedi 2 weeks earlier than I did.
Yeah, and it annoyed me too, because I can't think of a reason for it other than they really want to try to rope you into buying it twice. But like, I'm a person who's gone without sleep so I can be awake, so I can get my first show tickets for all of the sequel trilogy movies, and I didn't buy it twice. Like, if anyone was going to, you would think it would be me, and I didn't do it. So I don't know how that really helps. What I kind of wish is I could have had the option to pre-order my physical copy, and then once they've charged my credit card, they can send me the code so I could get the digital copy.
And I don't know why they don't do that anyway, because it seems like, to me, like the better business decision would be to sell it ahead of time. Like, pre-sale seems to be like something you would want to incentivize. And so if you told me I could get that digital copy when I pre-ordered it, like, that makes sense to me. But still, the idea of just allowing that I mean, because you're getting the code anyway, so I don't see what difference it makes. But so have you had a chance to look through any of the special features? I know you literally just bought it like an hour ago.
I know, and I've been like not watching it because then I wouldn't show up for the stream. I'm most interested in, apparently there's a special feature that's all about the balance of the Force, which I think is interesting because I have a Balance of the Force series going, and I'm honestly a little bit more excited to watch that than the movie, but I'm also terrified because I'm like, is it going to tell me that I've been right, or is Rian Johnson going to be like, Yoda Bauer is wrong, stop watching her videos, and then like our whole channel dies. I'm going to attempt to turn on screen share here while we talk about this.
I mean, while you pull it up, honestly, if Rian Johnson were to call us out by name for anything, I wouldn't care if it was because he was saying we were wrong.
Wrong or not. So I currently have music playing in my ears now, but you guys probably can't hear it. But yeah, so on the movie, I don't know how well you can see this, but there's the score only version, which is really cool. Ryan Johnson put that out on Twitter. It got a lot of people really excited.
Mm-hmm.
Where you only hear the music. You just watch this silent film. I don't even think there's sound effects. You just watch John Williams' score. There's an audio commentary, which I think is great because we didn't get that on The Force Awakens. You had to buy like a super special version that came out later.
Right.
There's a hour-and-a-half long behind the scenes thing here. Here's 10 minutes about balance of the Force. Here's an Andy Serkis thing. They're breaking down different scenes. So there's a lot of really cool special features on it. It looks like the most comprehensive special features they've had. Honestly, to me, the most disappointing thing about the new films has been the special features on the Blu-ray. Like, as weird as that sounds, more than like how they portrayed Luke Skywalker or anything like that.
Right.
So it's nice to see, like, it looks like this Blu-ray actually has the special features I would expect on this type of thing.
Well, and it's interesting to me too because
hold on.
when you think about it, one of the things that I got into when I was first getting into being kind of an online Star Wars fan is I subscribed to Hyperspace, in part because you got, at the time, you used to get the I don't even know if Star Wars Insider still exists. I'm sure it does. But you could get the magazine subscription, but you could also get a lot of online content that wasn't available anywhere else. Like we were getting, they had that behind the scenes webcam that they would run. And so I was really disappointed too with kind of the lack of this type of behind the scenes content.
Right.
But what do you enjoy that type of stuff? I know that you're interested in filmmaking and video production and stuff like that anyway. So like when you watch that, like what is it about that you enjoy?
It's kind of interesting because Star Wars has always been a thing where it was really hard for me to like break it down or like want to know too much of the magic behind the scenes, even though I'm kind of a film production buff. I like knowing how movies are made and that type of thing. And yet at the same time with Star Wars, I've always really enjoyed knowing how it was made because Star Wars has always been this thing that's just important to cinema. So when Star Wars came out, it's a very catchy thing to say. It changed the way movies were made. So I love watching things about the original trilogy and learning about how Star Wars was like the first movie to do tie-in toys, and you have those jokes in Spaceballs about like Spaceballs the toilet paper or whatever.
It's all about the merchandising.
All about the merchandising, and I like that. I actually really, weirdly enough, I think Attack of the Clones has some of the best bonus features of any Star Wars movie, and they have these really long documentaries about how they made digital Yoda and like how it was the first movie to be all digital, like shot entirely on digital. And that kind of stuff is fascinating to me, and there's so much in Star Wars that's groundbreaking to how we do movies, and that's the kind of stuff I really like watching. And so like the stuff with Rogue One, knowing how they did digital Tarkin was fascinating to me, and that sort of thing.
I feel kind of the same way. I remember there was a very brief period of time in my life where I was into like claymation stuff, and in which if you ever come to our forums, we have a forum member who does like claymation set building for a living. But I remember watching. I don't even remember if it might have been a featurette on the DVD box set of the original trilogy or something. I don't remember where it was. But it was like a detailed thing about industrial light and magic and like the process that, because you're right. I mean, it's more than just a revolutionary film. It's a revolution in filmmaking. And George Lucas, for a lot of different reasons, was willing to experiment with different types of technology. He still uses miniatures and, the old matte paintings and sets. And you know, even though the prequel trilogy in particular got a lot of hate for overuse of CGI at times,
Right.
you know, he was pretty revolutionary in that sense too. And so, even though as somebody who you know, I'm not looking to make a career out of it, it's definitely interesting to me to be able to get that kind of look behind the curtain,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. What about deleted scenes? So when you had that pulled up a minute ago, I know they've been they're not leaking, I guess releasing some of these deleted scenes on YouTube in the last couple of weeks. Do you like deleted scenes or
I really like deleted scenes, but I also often say that deleted scenes are deleted for a reason.
right?
There's been very few times where I've watched some like a film's deleted scenes and gone, I wish that was in the movie, because I can usually understand why it wasn't there.
Right.
You know, to talk about Attack of the Clones again, a lot of people talk about there's scenes between Anakin and Padme on Naboo that, you know, if they were included in the film,
Right.
would have added so much to their story, and it would have felt way less like Padme falling in love with a stalker.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were in there, it would have just killed the pacing of a film that already had pacing problems.
Right.
So I get why they weren't in there. And at least under old canon, I don't necessarily know if this holds true under Disney canon. But in old canon, those scenes were still canon. So I still had those, and I could still watch them in the same way I could read an expanded universe novel and get that material that I needed, but it didn't have to slow the film down.
Right.
And I know some of the scenes that have been either on the Star Wars show or just put out in general, you know, people have talked about, like, you know, there was one that got posted on our forums where a stormtrooper recognizes Finn, and he's talking in like a country accent, and you know how people didn't think that was funny or what have you. And first of all, what I'd say to that is just because the actor was using that accent on set doesn't mean that Rian Johnson ever intended to use that accent in the movie.
Right.
Case
Sure.
in point, David Prowse, who played Darth Vader, did not sound like Darth Vader
Right.
in the original
Sure.
trilogy. So just because that guy was doing that on set, maybe to play it up comedic for the sake of the actors on set, that doesn't mean that that was ever going to be the voice used in
Right.
in the movie. But I get like people not wanting that comedic beat there, but I can also get, you know, when you're writing the script for The Last Jedi, thinking you were going to need more comedy, because that movie had a lot of heavy scenes. So I could see that scene being there because Rian Johnson thought he needed humor, and then in the editing bay saying he didn't need it. So I think deleted scenes are a way, you know, sometimes people like to use them to dump on the movie and say, like, this could have been in there. And it's like, yeah, it could have, but it wasn't.
Right.
Like, why get mad at the movie for a scene it didn't actually have, you know?
Well, and I enjoy deleted scenes too. Part of me thinks that there is something perverse is not the right word, but there's something strange about us wanting to see content like that is not part of the film. Like,
Right.
like somehow the film is not enough. Show me the things that you didn't put in the film also.
Right.
But it's interesting to me because I feel like, and again, you're more plugged into this than I am in terms of the industry, but I feel like sometimes a director just wants the freedom to try something, you know,
Right.
and it doesn't always work, you know, and I don't know if you fix it in like pickups or if you just try kind of two different versions of a scene and one of them works better than the other. Because to go back to Attack of the Clones again, because it's I think it more than most films had, again, kind of important deleted scenes. I remember there are two different scenes that I can think of. One is a conversation between Mace Windu and Yoda, and the other is a conversation between Mace Windu and Obi-Wan. And both of those are mostly exposition, and they're not bad scenes, but they're doing something that another scene accomplishes as well. And so I just like the idea, you know, that a director has kind of freedom to play around with it without being locked in to anything. You know, and then you look at deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, where you had a whole character's death
Yeah.
that was kind of written out. through the use of a deleted scene that way.
Only to have her killed in a different way in the novelization, I think.
Yeah.
I remember that there was the many deaths of Shakti in Legends canon.
Right. Our pal Sin in chat says deleted scenes will be good in this film because we get to see more of Carrie.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. Any little bit of Carrie Fisher that we can hold on to, I'm excited about. But like for instance though, one of the deleted scenes I know is a kind of different take or an extended take on the conversation between Phasma and Finn in their kind of fight. You know, where Finn kind of walks her through, you know, you don't want everybody to know about how you're the one that dropped the shields on Starkiller Base. I appreciated that, but I appreciated that mostly because that's a tie-in to the Phasma comic that we saw, where Phasma, we get her story of how she survived Starkiller Base. But again, I don't know that it was necessary for the film necessarily. But at that same time, by this same token, I am a huge fan of the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So like I'm with you most of the time, where things that get cut for a reason. You know, even if it's just a different edit, you know, where you're just cutting out, you know, 30 seconds here or a minute there, just again for pacing or to shorten the length of the film. But yeah, I like deleted scenes mostly as this type of curiosity more than let me get some additional canon content, or that I can argue the film would have been better or could have been better with whatever.
Well, and I remember being disappointed with Rogue One because we didn't get any deleted scenes.
Yeah.
And with what Gareth Edwards came out and said was, with Rogue One, they shot that movie like 5 different ways. Like there were reports coming out that said, you know, there's 3 or 4 different possible edits for Rogue One.
Right.
And he said that it's not like there were whole scenes or whole alternate takes that could have existed. It was they had 5 different versions of everything and just assembled it.
Right.
You know, in their timeline, in their editor, and there really wasn't anything ever put together to be deleted scenes, which I get. I just think it's unfortunate because I would have loved to have seen what some of that was. Right.
Well, it's kind of like there's a I don't even know if it counts as a rumor online. It's almost a myth online that there's a Zack Snyder cut of Justice League out there that Warner Brothers is just refusing to release. And they're not releasing it because it doesn't exist. But but you know, there's something about that idea though. Even a movie that you like, to say, you know, oh well, let's, you know, could it have been better? Could it have been different? In these different ways. And mostly I bought the Lord of the Rings extended editions because I wanted to prove that I'm a better Lord of the Rings fan than everybody else. But that's my own kind of hang up there. But so what about any of the other features? Are you particularly excited about any of them?
I'm excited to watch the movie with just the score. I'm kind of curious how that goes because in my head there's got to be a couple of scenes that didn't have music.
Right.
So is there actually music in every part of the movie, or is there just going to be parts that are silent? I don't know that I've like lost it over that. Like I know there were people on Twitter who were just like, "This is going to be the greatest thing of all time." I'm sure it's going to be great. Yeah. I just don't know that I like was as excited about it as I thought. Or as others, I'm excited for the director's commentary. Yeah. I love director's commentaries, so that's going to be good. Yeah, and I like seeing any kind of, I like watching background and stuff like that.
Is it just the director's commentary, or are there several commentary tracks?
There's one commentary track. I don't know if other people are on there with him though. I'd have thought so. Before we did the StreamCast today, I was on the Port Haven Twitter. You never know which both Terry and I use that. But I tweeted out, have you gotten your copy? And I looped in some of our favorite friends on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
Partisan Cantina, Star Wars Casual, Neil, Positivity Neil, who has his own YouTube channel now. And they don't have the Blu-ray yet. They're not getting it
Oh, really?
until uh, early next month. So, we were talking about a delay in, us getting the digital copy versus the Blu-ray,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's strange that, when this movie got released, I think the UK beat it to us by like a day,
Right.
but then to have weeks, which is, at some level I kind of get, like it helps build the hype to like release them one day differently, or if the UK likes to release movies on different days of the week, whatever. But to
Mm-hmm.
like have whole weeks between Blu-ray releases, I can't think of a reason for it. It's just like Star Wars Rebels, the UK hasn't caught up to the end of Star Wars Rebels.
Man,
Rebels is not done yet
that
across the pond.
that blows my mind because
Yeah,
like there's no way that if you cared about Rebels, you haven't had that entire second half of the season spoiled for you by now.
or
Um,
pirated, to be frank.
oh yeah, that's true.
Because if I mean, we've been reading the Adventures in Wild Space books here, which were originally published in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
and the last book is not out, is out soon, and that's like a kid's chapter book. And I don't want to put the book down because I've loved the series, but like that's a kid's chapter book, and I'm really tempted. It's like only because I've built up a reputation with the authors that I refuse to pirate the book and just read it.
Right.
Like just because I've talked to albeit on a computer, because I've talked to the authors face to face, I refuse to pirate this book.
Right.
But I want to know what happens, and I don't get why I have to wait. I just think it's weird that it's 2018 and we can't release things,
Sure.
all at the same time.
I mean, and again, maybe it's a logistical thing, but yeah, that kind of blew my mind too. I didn't even realize that there were differences in the Blu-ray release date.
Yeah,
Um,
it didn't even occur to me that would be a thing.
I mean, and I guess for like a general audience, it might not matter that much, but I can imagine if it had been released 2 weeks earlier than what it was here, I would have been upset about it.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm already upset that the digital code was released
Right.
sooner.
And even then, like, as much as I don't get it, I also get it, right? Like, you're just going exclusive on one platform. But, like, why not release digitally, like, everywhere? Like, how hard is that?
Right. But you were talking, though, and I want to circle back to this for a second, about the all score version. Again, that's something I'm looking forward to. I don't know that I was quite impressed with the idea as much as other people were. I've always been somebody that's into musical scores anyway. So maybe I have kind of a predilection to like that and enjoy that. But it's another one of those things where now that it's been done, you almost wonder why they don't do it more as a special feature, because I mean, even if it's not the entire full length film, if you just present kind of a half hour cut of important scenes with just the score, like I would watch that. And it seems like, I mean, I don't know how like fancy video editing works, but when I edit videos, all you got to do is hit mute on that track, and it cuts all that out. And so, like, I imagine it's more complicated than that, but it can't be so complicated that it's impractical. And I would watch that. That would be valuable to me.
And it's like I can't imagine it's taking that much more space on the disc any more than French takes more space than Spanish than English. You're just swapping the audio track.
Yeah.
It should be simple enough to do, because that would be the only other thing I can think of is for some reason you can't save like one more audio track.
Right.
That even then that doesn't make sense. I mean, the only thing I can think of is for some reason they thought we don't want it. And I can't say that, like I said, it wasn't a feature that I was clamoring for, I need, but it's
Right.
definitely what I'm going to try.
Sure.
Like, why wouldn't I just... Star Wars is so famous for its music.
Well, and I wonder if it was different with The Last Jedi because that scene with the Holdo maneuver, as it's become known, you know, that is so, like, the fact that the sound cuts out for that scene has gotten so much attention, and that's so important to what's going on in that scene, that I wonder if that idea didn't kind of grow out of the sound design for that particular scene.
Yeah. Or even the music in that throne room fight is pretty intense.
Sure.
I feel like that's been... So just as a side note, that's been one of my favorite memes. I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter, but people have been taking the throne room scene and like putting different music to it.
Oh, really?
And it's really funny. Like there's Get Your Head in the Game from High School Musical. What is it? The one where it's like that sports music. It's like y'all ready for this? And then it's like like that plays. There's some good ones. It's really funny how they time out. Anyway, that's totally random, but that's been great. So
now I just want to experiment with that myself.
Right. And you'll be able to. You'll have your copy.
Yeah. Any other features or things you want to talk about with the Blu-ray release, or things you're excited about? While you're pulling it up, I did notice on StarWars.com, I was looking this earlier today, but if you go to StarWars.com, and it's the first thing on their page right now, that you can download and print alternative Blu-ray covers.
Oh, that's cool.
So again, this won't apply if you're getting the Steelbook or anything like that. And like some of these are like Lego covers, and some of these are like action figure covers. But they're made that you can print them out and then slide them down into the plastic sleeve. And I thought that was pretty cool. Again, that's not a feature of the Blu-ray, but it's something you can do there to go along with your Blu-ray. Not a bad idea there.
I'm gonna show you guys this. This just amuses me. Hold on. There we go. I'll create my Discord too. So when you go to this, it has a cast and crew page. I love that movies still do this, because isn't this what IMDb is for? But it's like, all it is this image, and I can't like make anything come up. So it's not like there's like pages about Mark Hamill or Oscar Isaac. It's just like, here's just a random list of whoever's in the movie and like who directed it. I just think this is funny.
I wonder if there are hidden Easter eggs in the menus.
There could be. The other ones have them.
Wonder if you can figure out what they are. But I remember, again, that, like you said, some of the other ones have them. Which is, again, another reason to get a Blu-ray rather than just the digital. The digital, because I don't imagine. I remember the first DVD that I bought that had bonus features was my DVD copy of The Matrix, and it was a big deal that its bonus feature was that if you put it into your computer, it would take you to The Matrix's website.
Oh, that's funny.
That's an intense bonus feature there as we make use of the internet.
My computer's getting very cranky because I accidentally started the movie.
Oh.
And it's like trying to do all of the things right now. So bear with me while I tell my computer does not need to play the movie.
But
I was looking through, I was trying to see what deleted scenes were there. But like I said, I literally just got it into the unboxing. So I haven't really seen what's on it.
Yeah.
But these releases are always fun. The one thing with the Blu-rays that's a little bit different that I kind of miss with the DVD releases is there was a big deal with the DVD releases of the prequel trilogies, what planets were going to have menus.
Oh,
I remember this with the Revenge of the Sith DVD, where there were like three, and you would open up and there'd be three different menus. And I think Revenge of the Sith is Mustafar, Coruscant, and Otapau. But it was like this big thing where every time you put in the movie, it would be a different menu, and which planets were gonna make it. And
Right.
I think that's kind of cool. What I think is so weird with Blu-ray is it's supposed to be all of this space and all of this other stuff you can have, but then it's like one menu. Like they didn't continue that tradition. I don't know if that's just they didn't want to continue that tradition
Yeah.
or what, but I thought that was funny. But I missed that with the DVD releases.
Yeah, I remember that too. And I don't guess I was aware that they didn't really have anything similar to that with the sequel trilogy stuff. I'm trying to look up and see if there's any other exclusive stuff that we haven't talked about. Um, Again, I knew that Best Buy and Target had exclusives, and I'm guessing that's basically
Yeah.
about it. I don't know what that translates to around the world either, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. But I know that I talked to a coworker today. He was trying to decide what version he was going to get, and was rather surprised. I think the Disney store, there's one where you can buy it from there, and there's like special pictures you can get with it.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's pretty much down to these two now. I'm kind of curious if that's like other places have just given up, if that's just Disney not wanting to license with other people.
Maybe so.
But I think that's interesting.
Could just be a function of sales too.
Yeah.
So it may not be worth it to have it.
Well, especially because I think digital editions have just even in the last 2 years gotten bigger. Like I remember when digital editions, like I have some things that are digital editions that are literally just the movie.
Right.
And the one I was showing you guys there for the Last Jedi is like a fully functional Blu-ray.
Right.
It has menus and that sort of thing. I had thought to like in my head I was gonna put the Blu-ray in my Blu-ray player and like show you guys that, but then I remembered I can't make that an input into my computer. Like sometimes I make my TV a second monitor, and I was like, I'll put it in there, and then I'm like, no, because it literally won't work because I unplugged the HDMI from my Blu-ray player to plug it into my computer. That functionally won't work.
Well,
yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot else to say.
I'm personally just really excited to get to watching the Blu-ray. We spent all this time talking about it.
I didn't even think about the longer our stream went on delaying your ability to watch it this afternoon. Now I'm tempted to see how long I can ramble for, just as a way of annoying you.
To keep me from the movie.
But there are a couple of things that before we end that we can mention are going on the site right now. I want to plug really quickly that we posted yesterday an interview with author Ken Liu, who wrote The Legends of Luke Skywalker, and he wrote one of the short stories in From a Certain Point of View as well. We still have a couple of ongoing series on our YouTube channel. You're already there right now, so you can click around and find some of those. Yoda Bauer's looking to wrap up her Balance of the Force videos soon. We've been doing some other unboxing videos. If you want to go back, the one that I made at least is really terrible, but if you want to see our unboxing videos for Rogue One, those are way back on our channel.
Those are some of our first videos, so yeah. Sorry, somebody just showed up and it made me laugh.
But oh yeah, hey Sarge.
Hey
Sarge. But we still got a Let's Play series going on. We're still doing some other stuff here and there on the channel. We've got some different comic reviews that have gone up and will go up soon. So we're plugged into a lot of different stuff. So make sure that if you have Star Wars questions or things you want to talk about, you're letting us know, because we want to be your Star Wars refuge. And you can find us on Twitter and Facebook and our forums and on our blog site at Port-Haven.
Yeah. And it's that instead. It's not porthaven.com because that's an old folks' home. They got to the URL first. Also, I will say that we like 2 weeks ago started this thing on Fridays called Fridates, where basically it's just like us talking about what Star Warsy thing we did, because sometimes we do Star Warsy things that don't end up making it into a video or what have you. I'm thinking about letting those just replace the monthly updates that I used to do.
Right.
Just because it seems a little bit redundant to do a monthly update when we're doing weeklies. So if you are watching this and you happen to make it this far and you happen to have an opinion on those things, let us know, because if that's boring to you, we don't need to do it. But we just thought it'd be like a fun little way to talk about what's going on. When I'm done with the Balance of the Force series, which will be very soon, I have one more video about Kylo and Rey to officially wrap that series up. Unless, of course, I watch these bonus features on The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson tells me I'm completely wrong. And in that case, who knows what will happen. And then I'm going to start, hopefully, a series on these books, where I kind of want to do almost a book club kind of thing, if anybody wants to join in, where every week I'm going to read a couple chapters and just talk about what it means for new canon, like the stuff that's in the book, which I think would be really interesting, because this trilogy is just super important, the Aftermath trilogy, in that it's really the only thing. We have this, and we have Shattered Empire, which is a comic, and we have Bloodline, and that's all we really know about how the galaxy got from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. And I know there's other stuff that takes place after Return of the Jedi, like the Poe comic, but like this is really the where did the First Order come from,
right.
Clues and hints to Snoke, like that kind of stuff.
Bridging that gap kind of thing.
Exactly. Yep. So that's stuff I really want to kind of dive into more as Episode 9 comes. So we have Solo in, a month and a half?
Yep.
And then we're going to have the long year and a half without a Star Wars movie and without Rebels. And who knows what's going to come out in that time. So hopefully we will get through that drought together.
I don't know how we made it 3 years before.
I don't either. I really don't. I don't know how we made it, yeah. Like, I don't know how we made it when we thought there wasn't going to be more Star Wars.
But
yeah, Sarge. Yeah, May Solo comes out, and then Episode 9 does not come out until December of 2019.
That's probably about how long it will take for people to realize where Solo happens in canon.
Right.
Where's Rey?
Where's Rey? Why is she not here? How come he's alive, and where is Harrison Ford?
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us today, though, with our streamcast.
Yep. If you want to scroll through, anybody who's here, I think chat stays up now. We have Sergeant Curry Pants in chat, who is a friend of the channel, who makes great stuff. Way at the top, there's a fellow named B-Man Entertainment, who's a awesome dude, who's sub of ours, makes good stuff you should check out. And I want to say thank you to Steven and to Sin, who's from Port Haven, and Tyler Brusso, who's one of our new subs. So thank you for the people who stopped by and talked with us. I think that's pretty neat. It always helps for us to have a little bit of something to go off of while we do these.
And then, barring something weird happening, next week we should be back on our regular Thursday schedule, so you can look for us then.
But always make sure you're following us on Twitter, because if that changes, we will tweet about it.
Yep, and if you are subscribed and you hit that bell, you'll get a notification anytime we go live, even if it's by accident. But until then, I am Professor Django. I'm here with Yoda Bauer, and we will see you next time.
Yes, have a good one.
See ya.